Are you kidding me? That's what? Yeah, every so often it happens that Ryan is right.
100% right. Not even a little bit right.
Tucker Pullman, 2 points last game.
No kidding.
My man!
Hey, neither does me running shirtless, but that turned out very well. Welcome to the PP1 podcast. Two Wolves edition. That video just doesn't want to leave. It wasn't even good, and it didn't even want to leave.
I think I would prefer that track, though.
Yeah, the track's good. No, I just wanted the Two Wolves because we were doing our summer show. Welcome to PP1 podcast. We're in my basement. Not my mom's basement, my basement. I pay for this basement.
Pay a mortgage.
I'm a man. I'm 40. Almost one. We've got a guest of the show.
Hey, everybody. Long-time listener, second-time guest.
Keith Sweaty has come to the show.
What Keith Sweat reference?
That's a Keith Sweaty reference.
Hey, did you guys know Jesse Roper is going to be here in August
I'm
4th
in-
at Nest Fest?
I'm in Calgary, so
At
don't
Redbird?
remind me. I'm very mad about this.
That's too bad. I was going
Yeah.
to say you should invite him over and have a Three Wolves with him.
Three
Before-
Wolves. That is a news. I can't do that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
City would. It probably would have been good to have him on during the series.
He's
a big Oilers fan.
No, he's not. He's a Leafs fan.
Right, sorry, big Leafs fan. His drummer's an Oilers fan.
Okay,
at least his
we'll
old
just
drummer.
wait till Marner gets traded, and then we can have him on.
Right, that could be a thing.
That is going to be a thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be a thing. Yeah, Jesse Roper said he'd come on the show. He's a good guy. He's like doing gardening right now at home. He's like, yeah, so got a week off before all my shows get going. So,
Yeah.
Can do some gardening.
My brother lives on the island, and he's a big Jesse Roper fan too. And he told me that, and I don't know if this is true or not, but he told me his buddy hosted Jesse in his backyard to play with the band and
Right.
like paid him in vegetables,
That's
a couple of big squashes and a watermelon or something like that. And he
I
played
mean,
a
that's
gig
the
there.
going rate. That's a
couple
going
of
rate.
melons.
Yeah, a couple of melons and
Price
squash.
of groceries these days.
Yeah, so squash. So we got Maddie on the show. This is couldn't find a third mic, so you're gonna see on the video a lot of like mic passing, and I get to keep my mic because I'm hosting and I gave you beer, so that's the least that you can do is pass the mic. We got our summer show. This will probably be one of like 3, maybe 4 total summer shows. We got working on the Glenn Saylor thing. I'll hopefully be chatting with him in the next week or so. There's also a guest he'd like to bring, which I think there's a very good chance we could have Wayne Gretzky on the show somehow, maybe only by audio, but regardless. So stay tuned. We might get to chat with Wayne Gretzky.
Remember that time we were chatting with Dixon Ward, and you were like,
Yeah, we're not gonna
"Hey, what
We're
was it
not
like
gonna-
playing with arguably one of the best players in the world?"
bring that up.
No. No.
And Dixon was looking at you like, "What the fuck are you talking
He's like,
about?"
get off. Like, you can't. I don't want to be on the show anymore. Yeah, I know. Sorry, Dixon. Yes.
Sorry about Ryan, guys.
I mean, all I was getting at was that there are a couple guys. There's a Gordie Howe. Gretzky has to pass someone. Bobby Orr. Some people think Mario Lemieux. Records-wise, yes, it's Wayne Gretzky with bullet.
Everything wise, it's Wayne Gretzky with a bullet.
Almost.
Everything.
Maybe a season for
Why
now.
did you say it like some would say Mario Lemieux?
I don't know.
Like it's unpopular opinion that he's one of the greatest ever.
I think you are the some would say.
It's probably with me. Yeah. So anyway, so that's working, and we'll try to get someone else on the show. Well, your post op. You're out. How long were you out the last time before we potted?
I think it was like 3 months.
Okay, so yeah,
I took my time. I think I'm not going to take 3 months this time around. Like, I'll be back
4?
sooner. I'll try to
Okay.
get in a pod maybe before I go back to work, that type of
I
thing.
mean, this is priority over like your physical health, but
Yeah, it's very clear.
Okay.
Yeah, especially
So-
if like one Glenn Saylor and Wayne Gretzky make their way. I'm going to have to try to get on.
Wayne Gretzky's not the guy I was talking about.
Well, you did say Wayne Gretzky.
I did mention that this person also knows Wayne very, very well. Some say he was an agent of Wayne Gretzky's. We'll leave that. Don't have to say names. Not gonna name drop. So it could be an interesting afternoon if we're having chat. We're gonna do like not a ton of Canucks stuff because free agency happened. Have a few opinions. We're gonna go over. Apparently, this was Matt's idea that we're gonna go over like late '90s, early 2000s goaltending masks. I believe
Just
the art of the butterfly.
goaltenders in general.
Goaltenders in general.
Yeah.
The birth of the butterfly save, and 90s and 2000s hip hop and rap artists. So Salt and Pepper, likely.
I love in like the early '90s where all your favorite goalies use Vaughn Legacy setups. I was like a big fan of that.
Who didn't like the Vaughn Legacy setup though?
They're beautiful. They're
Like-
cutting edge.
Anyway, and then we got some other hockey stuff to talk about.
Why doesn't Vaughn do that? Why do they not bring back like
They will.
a classic Legacy setup like Brian's does, for example?
They will.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just not. How many attendees are using Vaughn now?
I don't even know.
Probably not that many.
Everybody's like CCM and like hybrids of that, and I don't know. So anyway, welcome to the show, Matt. What's going on with you, friend?
It's summer, which
Okay.
means I'm outside.
How's the air conditioning in here? It's like
great.
okay.
It's great.
That's great.
It's really great.
I might need to open a vent in here, but I think we're okay.
No, don't touch it.
It's not
real
like
nice.
80 degrees.
These nice cold floors keep the totos cold too.
What
Pergo?
kind of linoleum is this?
This is not Pergo.
It's not Pergo. Are
Not
you sure?
Pergo vinyl plank.
Well, I love hearing about it on the radio.
Yeah, well, this isn't the radio, and I'm not going to talk about it because I don't sell it. So
Shoot.
it's too bad. You know, I do what I do. So your Matt works at OKGN, as you can
Correct.
see on his hat. Is that the new summer lid?
This is the spring lid.
The spring lid?
Yeah.
Is there a new summer lid coming out?
It already came out. It's like steel blue.
Oh,
I think I need
Yeah.
it.
It's real nice. Real nice, Clark.
ooh, okay. Might need to get. I mean, who doesn't need a new hat?
Toss a big
Exactly.
bag of Alpo up there and get me a summer hat.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. So we got a few more things. Summer baseball is currently going on. Our Bat Sniffers 2-pitch league. We went to play in Canada Day for the championship, and it got rained out. So one would say, like, okay, well, is there like a makeup game? No, there's not. We've been asking. The other team isn't in the summer league, so we can't even do like a regular season game for the championship. So we've got these. It's like the unplayed title game.
Just solve it like you do when there's a tie. Just paper, rock, scissors.
Well, that's what we said too. We're like, you know what? That's a pretty high stakes game of rock paper scissors.
Is it really high stakes though?
for t-shirts? Yeah,
For it's like
Two-pitch league.
it's like 2-pitch Z league.
yeah. I mean, you wouldn't know because you're not there.
I was there for some of it.
Can we talk about that? You can also win the league with fun points. So it's really
That's true, but we were tied with them in like everything. So that's the problem.
I saw a genius reel, like, so talking real quickly about having baseball leagues. So you enter into like a D or an E league
Yeah.
and you call your team forfeit.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
And then the other team looks on the schedule and sees forfeit, thinks you don't show up. You're there, you get the $50 like exit money, and then your team goes up for beers, and you do that 4 or 5 times in the year because of forfeits.
Or they have I saw like a hockey league one where there's like a 9th team or something in the beer league against, I can't remember what they call it, but it's basically like it's a unwritten rule, like it's a whatever the unknown teamer, but it's basically like a bye week. So you're like, yeah, I'm going for hockey, and it's just basically beer night with the boys.
Like opponent unknown.
Yeah, something like that. That's a good idea.
You should also have an episode on greatest rec league team names, like soft dump in the corner.
That's a good one. Off in the corner is also really good.
Yeah, we just beat off in the corner 5-1. Wow. It's a team name.
5-on-1.
Family show. It's not entirely a family show, but so summer baseball anyway. And then hops were still, we had against the Trojans, and neither team could field a team last week. So I didn't play any baseball last week, and we missed you. Obviously, we could have fielded team.
Sounds like you guys were okay.
Well, if we would have had you, we probably would have won by.
But then the other team didn't have players either.
Well, then we get the W though, right? It's math. It's like when you went golfing with Darren. Oh my gosh. So anyway, we got some cool stuff to talk about. I'll get into the Manscaped read, or actually, you already heard the Manscaped read off the top on the audio version. The audio version. So the Canucks, let's get into that quickly, and then we'll get into all the fun stuff. Phil Peronic, I was right, signed for less than Quinn
We
Hughes.
talked about this last week, though, didn't we?
No, we didn't.
Vinny
Vinny
before last.
Well, that part we did, yeah.
Okay.
So they got Vinny Desharnais,
Yeah, I like that. Move.
Descharnes,
Yes. Yeah.
another towering defenseman. They got Derek
Huge.
Forbort.
Huge.
Derek do the Forbort. So I think they've addressed defense, maybe not like the ideal way, but they've kind of decided that, again, by committee almost. Like they got their premier guys, and then the rest is by committee, it sounds like. They added obviously Jake DeBrusk, so Louis DeBrusk is super thrilled about that. So we're going to get Harner Ryan and Louis DeBrusk games probably all season next year.
Sounds great.
Which is good. So less Oilers once is fine by me. And who else did they get? Kiefer Sutherland. They got Jack Bauer
and Sherwood Forest.
Yeah, they got Jack Bauer, so that's good. I don't know. Do you think there's still like a move like a big move to make? Do you think they're still in on Natchez?
Like I don't know what's out there that they can, like. There's not really a fit for I think them to trade for. I think they'd like Natchez, but I don't know how they acquire.
Like, who do you
him.
move? Yeah.
Like I would love, and I don't think I'm probably alone on this one. I would love if somehow they got Marner.
Yeah,
like that would be a great.
I don't think you're alone on that one.
That would be
just
like
going to cost
a lot of people
lot.
just like really dislike Marner because he doesn't do anything in the playoffs. But I think he would really elevate
on the Leafs. He doesn't do anything. He's only ever played on the Leafs.
Yeah, I mean, and none of them do anything in the playoffs.
Exactly. So I mean, if you're any team, I mean, it won't be Vancouver because who would you have to give up? I mean, Brock Besser.
All of it.
Brock Besser, probably.
Yes.
Yes.
Whatever I'm about to say. Yes. Okay. So, I mean, wasn't Cernak available as well? Wasn't he?
Yeah, we were talking about Cernak like 4 years ago.
I know, but
so I think I think you can still shake a guy like that loose, but I don't know what you have to give up to get him.
Isn't he a free agent now though? I thought hasn't he run his contract out? I can't remember. I thought he was available. Anyway, get a guy. Like
maybe it's like last year, right? When they got a couple of guys signed late.
Hey Grant, sorry to say hello.
Grant, my dude. Yeah, maybe that's how it goes. Maybe it's a late summer free agent signing like Pius Suter, right?
Yeah, and I think what they were saying is they want to go into the season with cap space.
I don't care. Like everybody, do you remember like last year we started the season with I think it was Akito Rose and Noah Juleson on the third pairing.
Yeah.
Like that's not what we finished with. I'm not concerned about that. The team that starts the season is never the team that finishes the season on any team. So I'm not.
I think if you can make some moves early on, like they made their their trade moves early in the season to get ready. Once they realized like, hey, we actually have something, they made their moves right away. So I think if there was a move to be made even in the off season, like jump on it, have your new guy in training camp at least, start working on lines. So as soon as the season starts, you're ready to go. Just start running the table.
I think they
Which
would.
Is
still
a weird
like
thing to
have,
say as a Canucks fan.
Yeah, like 100-point season now is expected, which is wild. I think they would like to get their hands on like one more puck moving defenseman.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It was kind of similar. Like Edmonton acquired freaking what's his face, former Rocket, and he subbed in for Desharnais during the playoffs.
Tyson Barrie,
and they had a small puck.
One for one.
Right, but
right.
I don't know exactly what or how. I think Oliver Shillington is still out there. There's a couple of guys.
See,
how much are you going to pay these
guys? That's a name that
thing?
still bugs me because it's Kylington. Where does the shill part come from?
I don't know.
That just bugs me.
Jordan Schroeder.
That's closer.
Schrader.
Yeah, that's still closer than Shillington.
Cody.
So what's Grant? Good evening, boys.
Sam Swami.
Sweet. So he's getting into what's left, like Hogs, Garley, anyone. Yeah. And I mean, Hogs maybe is a guy that you're trading on at the height of what his value is. I mean, Podkolzin's probably going to be one of your everyday guys going in next season. Like, guys are graduating from the farm.
Yeah, I could see moments of Hogs and Pods.
Hogs and Pods. That's it's like mugs and jugs.
I think if Höglander has value,
yeah,
I think, and you can get yourself a player, whether it be a puck moving defenseman or I don't know, you can package him with somebody else to
Sure.
get somebody better. Like
Sure.
I'm all for that. I don't know how high Hoaglander's ceiling is. That 24 goals.
Well, he's
great.
only
It
this
would
tall, so it's got to be
short,
like
yeah. I don't know how
the
I don't
old
know
70s
how
houses,
many
so like
more
seven,
points he's
yeah.
going to get. Like
Thank you. Appreciate that.
how much better of a player is Hoaglander than what we saw last year?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
if he's the thing that's going to put you over to get an H, then you have to make it.
I think you probably have. I mean, we're just speculating. We're speculating.
You're speculating.
I'm speculating. Like, yeah, you're probably right. Like, are you going to get like 2 or 3 prime seasons out of this right now, or are you, what the heck are you doing right now?
Tattoo.
Oh, you get a new tattoo? Tats? Call you Tats? Beardo. Yeah, I mean, I think you speculate a ton, like you said, and I know that's what we try not to do in the off season unless there's just
Why not? There's nothing else to talk about.
Well, I mean, we're going to be talking about like all the good things, like 90s rappers, like and goaltenders. So before we get into all that, I wanted to I kind of brought this up today, and they were very confused as to what I was getting at. So I got to find the little video here. Let's do
top five.
You've seen this in person before?
Top five.
Favorite rapper, Drake, hip hop artist, rapper. Apparently he bet like $500K on the Canada game today. He lost $500K. Yeah, he did. Unless he matched it with like another $500K for Messi to score, then of course he probably made $2 million. So good for you, Drake. Way to go. It's summertime. You're a kid. You're like 13, 14, 15, 16 years old. You just crush an entire tray of bagel bites. Mom's not home for another 2 hours. She's working. You're playing Chell.
A couple of pizza pops ready to go if you need them.
I mean, hey, you know what? Your metabolism hasn't quite kicked in yet. So you're just crushing everything in the fridge and freezer, and you're playing some Chell. Now, growing up, you know, we're all of the same vintage. We've all played basically from like ice hockey to, you know, now we're in NHL, going to NHL 25, which is insane. There's been some innovations from these games, and we're not going to talk about the Fox puck, although that was in a game. It was
like NHL hits, wasn't it?
It was like hits, or it was in like wasn't it like Fox Sports hockey or something, or Jeremy Roenick hockey or something like that? Jeremy Roenick, I'm going to put your stick on my wall. Good old Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan.
Yes.
Agile and accurate.
I'm Brian Fellows. So what would be your guys' top 5 innovations for hockey games? So like the arrow and blades of steel going up and down, the goalie says an aim. Did you guys use that at all?
Player identifier? Like,
yeah, that was, I mean, that was pretty, it wasn't just number. That's
top innovation in hockey games, because we were going back to like, I started playing in like 93.
right.
NHL 93.
Yeah. So the Super Nintendo or Sega?
Sega, obviously. It was
not obvious.
No, it was way better processor,
Some people
faster. Guys.
Some people would say, listen, I went from Nintendo to PlayStation, so I missed like.
Okay, well, you don't get to chirp me because you went out and you bought yourself a PlayStation 4 when you were going to do your big upgrade.
Yeah. I got a family.
So do I. Okay, biggest innovation would have been like audio play-by-play.
That's
like
actually,
we went from nothing to having actual play-by-play guys.
So we went from
for you.
That's fair. So we went from like basically the organ, or the synthesized organ, like something like that. So yeah, to play-by-play, that's actually pretty good. And who was it? Jim Houston that started it all?
He did like a ton of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jim Houston.
When he was on the show, he talked about it.
That's right. Oh, by the way, we had Jim Houston on the show a couple years ago. Humble brag. Maddie, what do you got?
Was it 95 or 96 where you could customize?
Yeah,
Also,
create a player.
I remember borrowing it from, so I was in grade 4 and I had a friend who was in grade 10 named Shane down the street.
Shano.
And I borrowed his, and I made a guy named Jerk Face. And my dad saw it and he's like, "What's up with Jerk Face?" I was like, "Shane made it."
You should have
I don't know.
You should have. If it was Updog, you would have had a way
I know,
better
it would've
transition.
been way better,
What's
so.
up with Updog?
Shout out Scotty
Yeah.
Upshaw.
Yeah. So shout out Shane.
So and I mean, they didn't. It was kind of funny because the early creative player, you could just max out all your stats,
Yeah,
and then they realized. Well, sorry.
You can still make Bo Jackson hockey players.
Oh, but I guess if you're in your whatever, once you're in like, is it like league mode or whatever, then you have to like dial in. You only get so many like character points or whatever, right? Or is that just for like be a pro or whatever? So you can't, Bo Jackson hockey players. Yeah, that's a pretty creative player. Is pretty good.
Yeah. Same era was Gino, the chant in the stands.
Right. Yeah.
My Chell is from 94 to 98. That's kind of when I stopped playing.
And you just gave up. You're just like,
yeah.
What did you do? What did you play? Real sports or 3D
something? Graphics. I was like, this is not for me.
Like Wayne Gretzky hockey or NHL breakaway or I mean NHL open ice. So we got Deke dangle stick. So that I was gonna get into that like skill stick.
Yeah.
So I mean that was a little bit further along. I mean once you start getting the joysticks and stuff, I think skill stick
was huge. Even though they wrecked it in this version of NHL. Because now you have to like load up your hit and hit the guy, and they added hip check back. It's hard. It sucks.
See, I don't even know which one I've got. 23 maybe is the last one I bought.
I think it's 24 that they changed. It's not that good.
So like now I'm doing like the tutorial because I can't even like there's all these moves. I'm like, I just want to like do like a dangle.
So like before you could go behind the net and pull a Michigan with your skill stick. Now it's like a button.
Oh, well, that's perfect. One button now?
Yeah, but no, it shouldn't be a button. You should have skill to be able to pull it off.
Okay, so to intertwine with
like Desharnais, you shouldn't be able to go behind the net and hit a Michigan with Desharnais.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I think you should have like a skill level. Like if you have to work up your skill rating to get that at least.
It's not as good, Grant. So I don't know if you're losing anything. If you like where you're at, stay at 23.
I mean, and we'll get into maybe what the best one is, but. So skill stick, like I was kind of thinking like the L2 R2 button, like the hip check. That was like
like the modifier,
like the 0304, where you can just like hip check somebody from the center ice, like a la Dan Hamhuis, but way more awesome.
Is a hip check the most underrated physical thing you can do in sports?
100% yes.
I think just because it's a risk reward thing, right? Like you're causing potentially harm on. I mean, obviously Dan Hamhuis was a great example. But I mean, yeah, you're putting your whole body on the line, like in the worst possible contact zone for like rehab.
Yeah. Rob Blake has no reason to be in my top 10 all-time favorite players, but he is because of his hip check.
And that's fair.
And that's it.
So, and the whole thing with Rob Blake was he like separated his shoulder, something like that in junior. And so when he came back early and he couldn't hit guys. So his whole thing was that he was just going to throw the hip. And he doesn't throw it like a Hamhuis throws it or like Keith Ballard did. Those guys were really low. It was super dramatic. Guys doing flips over and stuff. But
you
like
threw a hip check on me in the photo shoot for the hockey game a couple years ago. Wasn't staged. It sucked.
Like a Rob Blake hip check was like devastating. And he didn't go low on a guy. And then the other dude was like the PK Subban on Brad Marchand hip check is just absolutely like gold. I don't know if anybody has seen. If you remember that.
PK Subban was
that guy was
that dude liked to hit.
Yeah.
That dude liked to hit. Yeah. So okay. So like I said, it was like modifiers like your L2 R2. I also liked like the L1 R1. I'm a PlayStation guy. So like when you dive and you start swinging your stick around, like it's the best when you're in like
it's terrible. Like you're exiting the zone and you have guys flopping all over the ice, flicking their sticks around.
But it's one of those like if you can. So I
hate that you like that,
but I was really good at it. That's the problem. Like I was really, really good at that, which is not something that I should be proud about.
That's like putting the guy in the corner in Street Fighter Turbo and just
cheesing him,
doing this the whole way, and then you're dead.
Handshake it down,
going like fully Honda.
Yeah,
100 hand slap.
Yeah, like no, he's not Honda, he's full Honda.
Or like Blanca with his electrical shit.
You like that? You like that? See, I went
and I think like Greg mentioned it. I think Grant mentioned a little bit earlier that we were talking about GM mode. Like GM mode was like I think it was like 2002 came out, and they GM mode got like ramped up, and they added all the other leagues like the AHL and like the German and Swedish and Finnish leagues and stuff. When that happened and they added all those extra players to NHL, like that was like a huge game changer for me.
So just all the extra leagues and stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Do you have another one?
Shout out to putting players through the glass.
That
100% agree.
Yeah. So I mean the whole Wayne Gretzky head bleed putting
50% agree?
No, 100%.
100%.
150.
It's like I'm on the fence if that is a great thing or not. Yeah, I mean, putting a guy through the glass And especially like
50% agree.
so. So are you for it? It's like I'm mostly for it, like 50%. Will that
I'm
also?
not for it.
Yeah, like glass half full. I think as the games went on too, what was the one? Was it like 06 or 07 when like they slow-moed it when you blew a guy through the glass and like it was like a full like almost animation where like it looked like my TV was tonight when it was like
I don't
super
recall that. I don't
like super
remember.
blurry mode and like you'd crush a guy and like it kind of all like happened in like sequence kind of thing.
I don't remember that.
Oh, well, I'll find it.
Okay.
I'll find it. Not today, but you know, occasionally.
Goalie editor.
Oh, like equipment?
Just equipment. Like
Okay.
all the different kinds of pads,
Okay.
setups. Like
Okay.
I would just spend hours in the goalie editor building pads and like not even playing the game.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the fifth
The only thing it's missing is a mask editor now at this point.
I think they have mask editor, don't they?
I don't. 1998 was the last time I played.
Okay, so you were actually serious with that.
Yeah, I think
Like
I played
you.
like 3 or 4 times.
You would buy this game, not even play a game, and just build goalies.
So
And I bet
Matt-
you'd be happy because like
Matt-
all I could think of is like, hey, I want those pads.
He hasn't even
I want
played the
those
game with
pads
the
too.
Atlanta Thrashers, which is saying something.
Correct.
Like,
So
did
I
you know
happy
the
Bullen
Danny
is still
Healy
playing.
game was like I never played that one.
He never got to utilize Patrick Stefan.
No, never did.
Yuri Butsayev and Ilya Kovalchuk and oh man. Okay, so this is gonna get weird because as soon as we start naming the top 5 games, you don't get to have a vote because you only know 3.
That's all that matters.
Grant says my first shell game was the one where all the goalie masks were profiled. I think it was 97. That sounds close. I mean, goaltending masks. I'm gonna have to find. So, I probably brought this up to you on one of our old shows. So, Greg Harrison, who's designed some of the greatest goalie masks of all time. During COVID, I did a series on Canucks Army about like the man behind the mask, like a story behind the goaltending mask for former Canucks. So talked to John Garrett, talked to Kirk McLean, talked to Eddie Lack. Who else did I have? There's a few other guys in there, which was like full on geek out mode. I'm just like, I'm interviewing these guys about their goalie mask. And we talked for like over an hour about the whole story. Corey Hirsch was a really good one. He sent me a few photos of masks.
That mask is top 10 all time.
So he sent me 2 masks that he never actually wore. So he had one when he was with the Rangers, and it was King Kong climbing the Empire State Building.
No way.
I'll find the photo and send it to you. And he's like, yeah, I've got these masks somewhere in my house. So anyway, yeah, it was the Rangers one. It was King Kong climbing the Empire State Building, right when they won because he was with them when they won the Stanley Cup, wasn't he? And then he came over to the Canucks after that. Anyway, so he had that, and then he had one when he went to Dallas that he never wore, and that one was killer too. So I mean, all these guys, like, they geek out on as much as we do. It's just they have the money to do it and have their own. Like, some guys just have like a wall of goalie masks.
Like all of that stuff. Like we could do an episode just talking about every team and awesome goalie masks. Like I remember
We'll do that.
New York having
We'll have a third microphone
Steve
for that one.
Valiquette playing for them, and he had the Spider-Man mask.
That's right.
Like, that thing was rad.
It was dope. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, goaltending mask editor by far. Anyway, sorry, Greg Harrison thing. Anyway, so I interviewed him, and I had to split it up into like 2 articles because the guy wouldn't hang up the phone. He's like, well, how long do you want to talk? I'm like, oh, whatever. And then I looked, and we just started talking about like masks from like the Rocketeer and like everything. And by like, I was like, you called me, and like, I gotta go. Like, it's been 2.5 hours. Like, I gotta go eat dinner now. So anyway, I got the audio for that somewhere, and just absolutely incredible. I was geeking out for days, just writing like the transcript of it, like talking about how like the whole Felix Potvin thing and how like every team that he went to, like the little modifiers that he would do to that new team, like from when he went to Vancouver, and how he had like the fish head at the bottom, or LA, how he kind of had a crown kind of coming, like all these little details. And Matt, I mean, you're the coolest goalie I know.
Thank you.
And I mean, I know like that's like, I mean, you're trying to contain yourself right now, but it's just goaltending stuff. It's the one position in hockey where you can go like full on designer mode. Like baseball's
maybe in
changed
sports.
Well, baseball's changed a lot now because you can get custom cleats, you can get custom all that other stuff, right?
But even like catchers can't modify their masks now.
You're probably right. Yeah, unless it's like a team approved issue
Yeah,
kind of thing.
team
So,
colors.
so
Like freaking Griggs on, I think, was the last guy to have a painted mask.
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Padres are city connect jerseys.
Which is wild because hockey goalie in all of the sports that you can think of is like one of the least desirable positions to play
And
and least appreciated.
oh, absolutely.
But you get to be dope.
Yeah. So I mean, so let's get into it.
Okay.
Like goaltending equipment, goaltenders. So like, I think we had this set up like however many podcasts ago, like, you know, the Felix Potvin thing. Oh, sorry, my microphone's all crappy. Apologies. This has happened before. So like the whole Felix Potvin, when he had the Coho set up after he went from Healy to Coho, and he was like the spokesperson.
From what?
Probably look. So Felix Potvin used to be with Healy. I got that right? Is it Healy?
Heaton?
Did I keep
Okay.
saying Healy?
Got you.
Glenn Healy. Heaton. I know goaltending.
Sports.
Sporting.
Go Dragons.
Yeah. So he went from Heaton, had the whole setup. I think he had that out of his rookie year too, or he just changed. And then Coho came and he had the cool, like, kind of the cattail and all the fur and everything on his blocker, trapper, leg pads. And then
Are you talking about time post Toronto? Because I think he had the
No,
Coho
in
stuff
Toronto.
In Toronto, right?
No.
And like Patrick Wall was also rocking Coho back then.
It was at the same time when we all did the McDonald's masks. Same time. I just about grabbed your beer. Sorry. Yeah. So like Felix Potvin was. Are we just cheersing? Nice. Let's, because we're the three best friends that everyone did. Yeah. For me, I was a Felix Potvin guy as far as the whole gear setup. Because I mean, French Canadian goaltender and the rest of Canada is just like, I need to buy all your stuff. I don't even play goaltender. And I need to buy all your stuff.
I remember having his like upper deck Chicoutimi card,
Mm-hmm.
like from when they had gone through playoffs, thinking it was like the coolest thing, holding the trophy, and he's got like his mask off. So I'm like, this guy. So
I have his St. John's Maple Leafs card, and Damian Rhodes also.
Congratulations.
Damian Rhodes.
Mic drop. We could end the episode right now.
My Rick Walmsley card.
Yeah, no, there's no Rick on the Flames one.
Yeah.
Just checking. Maddie, so like who like shaped your love of goaltending?
Goaltending or goaltending gear?
All of the
All
above.
of them.
Yeah.
It was Kirk McLean. It was the save.
Mm-hmm.
The save. Yeah, that was the poster I had 3 of for sure.
The same poster?
Yeah, if I had to. No, there were 3 different posters.
Okay.
It was that and the Russian rocket one.
If you don't, okay, as a Canucks fan, if you don't have the Russian rocket poster, you're not a Canucks fan. I'm sorry, you're just not a Canucks fan. Everyone had that. And if you didn't, I'm sure it's on eBay somewhere. Go buy it. It's probably got like tack marks in it. I got one in the next room. I had to take them all down at some point. Apparently we have to have a grown-up looking house. So I secretly do it because Christine never comes down here. So it's fine.
Yeah, Kelly Rudy was cool. Potvin.
So
That's the early days.
Kelly Rudy
and Tom Barrasso.
Kelly Rudy. Oh, good
Because
pull.
everybody,
So
no
you
matter
had those, like the Aeroflex pads, right?
Penguins jerseys when you're a kid were like the raddest.
They were pretty
They're
awesome.
great color. All Pittsburgh teams have great color combinations, whether you hate the Steelers or not.
That's fair.
And a Penguins fun.
The 95, 96.
Yeah,
When they went with like the triangle.
Yeah,
That was pretty cool.
Pens.
I thought it was pretty cool.
No.
But you mentioned Kelly Harudi.
Yes.
And I mean, we all played ball hockey or like floor hockey in school. And did you guys ever like have floor hockey leagues like in school?
Yeah, intramurals, man.
And so obviously, Matt, you were the goaltender, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have the bandana?
Yeah, I actually had bandana on through my whole hockey career.
I mean, these people, these stupid little things are shaping our lives. A freaking bandana. No one wears a bandana unless you're like a hoodlum or like a biker,
A street youth.
a street youth, or farm people. They wear them. That's more just,
That's a handkerchief.
it's the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
You could do both. You could have it. Maybe you're robbing a bank.
Yeah, that's different.
That's the whole. That's this part of the costume. Grant says big fan of the Triangle Penguins logo. So see, Matt, you're wrong.
Agree to just 50%.
50%. That's a thing now.
Whenever I think of the triangle penguin logo, I think of like
Did you say pagan logo?
pagan logo. It's pagan. Whenever I think of that logo, I think of Jagomir Jags.
Absolutely. And Peter Nedved. And Ulf.
Not Yalmir though. Jagomir.
Gel Samuelson.
Shell. Yeah.
Shell.
When you have time, you should look up Jagomir Jags.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah, greatest card.
That's good.
The scorecard.
Okay. Ted, goaltending.
Well, I mean, yeah, I was obviously a huge Kirk McLean fan. The McDonald's masks was like a really important thing for me when I was growing up.
Did you see the ones as you walked?
I did. Yeah, I check them out all the time. But yeah, I all those goalies, right? I mean, that especially the goalies from that era.
Jocelyn Thibault.
Sans Mike Vernon. Wasn't a Vernon fan, obviously because
it was
Vernon
the Flames.
was great, but I hated the Flames.
Exactly.
But like, yeah, I appreciated like Bill Ranford. Like, I loved Kirk McLean.
Bill Ranford did a bandana too.
Rudy was great. Like, Potvin was a big one. Ed Belfour was such a big thing too when he came in, that humongous hot 5-hole that he would use and those like classic black and white pads. And we didn't know at the time that guys like Potvin and guys like Rudy and Marty Brodeur were going to just wear those masks for their whole entire lives. Like, guys don't do that anymore. And they were synonymous with those goalies.
You have like 3 a season.
So like, really, it was to me like the golden age of goalies. Mm-hmm. So those were definitely the dudes that I followed the most coming up. I always appreciated seeing Rudy and like the crazy mask, right, that he had, and like Artur Zerbe and the story about him never changing his pads out. Liked watching John Van Diesbroek and those like old brown
and the square mask
gear, right, when he showed up in Florida, and his mask was different than everybody else's. I thought that was really cool, and they did such a good job with his mask. And Mike Richter was awesome, but he played for the Rangers, but he was still so cool as like a really small young goalie. Like those guys, like that Mike Richter mask, like I feel like inspired the Rangers' third logo, right?
Oh, 100%.
So I loved those guys. I loved that they were all Vaughn legacy guys back in the day. I followed all of their careers. Andy Moog was another one that I used to watch a lot of. And it was just a little different back then because goalies weren't these like titans that they are now. Like, if you're not a 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" goalie, like better be pretty special.
Snow is like an outlier,
right? Yeah, you better be pretty special, like a UC Saros or something like that. That doesn't really happen anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like if you're small and fast, agile, accurate, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the small guys back in those days were the Hashicks and the Richters, who were so different than everybody else. They relied on athleticism, instead of cutting the angle down.
Right.
But now all the guys are athletes, but they're also 6'4".
But they're also 6'4".
Yeah.
Like them talking about the fact that Jacob Markstrom, who was the backup goalie that we had that played with him, also the Swede. I want to say it was like Nils. No, not Nilsson.
Anders Nilsson.
I don't know. I can't remember. Also like a 6'5" Swede.
So Matt, I just got a text from my neighbor. Yeah, you did hit their house before the show. I'm just kidding.
But they were talking about like how much more athletic Markstrom was. Like, and I don't look at Markstrom like he's this crazy athletic guy, but those guys are, right? I mean, but the Hasek thing, I remember watching like a reel just recently, and like Ed Belfour getting yanked from a game, and in comes this goalie called Dominic Hasek. Like, could you imagine a system that holds those guys together?
We all have his rookie card from Pro Set.
Ridiculous.
Pro Set Series 2.
I think I have the Upper Deck one.
Do you?
Yeah.
But I mean, you got it and you're like, well, this card sucks. Like Dominic Hasek rookie card. All right, whatever. And you just float it away, and you look at it now and you're thinking like, this actually should be worth so much more.
He changed the game. Yeah, he changed the game the way goaltending's made.
Yeah.
Slinky for a spine.
Yeah, Waugh did it, then Hasek, then I think that big goalie. I think Carey Price changed how a goalie plays in that next version after. Tall, calm,
economical.
Just played perfect. Beautiful goaltending.
So Matt, even though you aren't playing NHL games now, like who is your guy now? Like you watch a fair amount of hockey when you're not growing in a luxurious beard, luscious and luxurious.
Shaved a few inches off it. I don't think anyone can not say Vasilevsky.
Yeah,
like I think he's the last, or at least the one great tendy of the last 10 years.
I mean, when it comes down to
great.
fantasy hockey, and you're still picking Vasilevsky over potential forwards.
Yeah, he's absurd. He mixes that new style of goalie with the Hashicks, the behind the back saves, the ridiculous toe flips.
Because we don't have Pekka Rinne anymore as well.
Yeah, Rinne was rad too, but Vasilevsky's just so much better than everybody else.
Yeah,
he's the arguments for Walroder and Hasek, and then you can make the Rinne, Carey Price, whoever else, right? But no one in the last 10 years has.
So we got what do we say? Nope. Farm people don't put us in a box. Sorry. Just getting back to that. Sorry, Grant. I actually, you know what? Screw it. I wore one. I lived on a farm. So I'm not putting you in a box. I'm just speaking facts. Maybe you're not a real farmer, Grant. Maybe that's truth. Come at me, bro. He's gonna come at me too.
He's like actually a chicken farmer.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know. Hey man, we used to do baling hay and all that stuff. We had it over dust.
That's
stuff.
why you're farm strong, not you know. You're not conventional strong. You're farm strong.
I'm definitely not conventional strong. That has been proven on every sports field and ice surface. So, and we're not going to get into that because, well, it's not an appropriate story.
Yeah, no,
there's words we can't use.
I think goaltending's like really changed from the days, even from, it doesn't seem that long ago, but like Carey Price has been out of the league for a bit now. And Pekka Rinne, same idea, right? I think goalie work and goaltending in general has changed since that time, where back in the day you could have taken, and it happened all the time, that you could take a Patrick Waugh and remove him from a system in Montreal, put him into Colorado, and he would thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't matter. You could just go out and get yourself the best goaltender.
Yeah, it wasn't just goalie.
Yeah, nowadays you can't do that, right? Like teams are built the way they defend towards a goalie's strength. So like Connor Hellebuck. So I listen to a lot of Kevin Woodley. Hellebuck might be the best guy in the league when it comes to stopping a straight on shot. Like if he sees it on you, he's going to stop it. But cross crease, side to side with movement, he's not going to stop things. He's quite below the league average, right? So Winnipeg defends in a way that they can only take straight on shots. They take away the backdoor pass at all times, right? And so when you see a guy like that, you can't just go out and take a goaltender, make a trade for him, and then plunking into your system, because if he doesn't fit the system mold, he's going to get scored on, right? Like coaching is so good now. They're all specifically set up to and work in unison with team defense on how they're going to face shots.
Right.
And Vancouver was getting victimized with cross crease stuff for like a while before that changed now. And then the team defends differently, and Demcode is
that's an Ian Clark
world
thing too, right? Yeah. Because you look at how many goalies, like, I mean, even Anders Nielsen, we want to bring him up for a bit. I mean, he was part of the club. And the reason they were able to make a trade is because, well, like you said, he was part of the system, and then they traded him away. Well, he's not the same goaltender once he's out of the system.
Right? And then you have a guy like Shilovs, right, who is a big body and is athletic and works under that style and now can work the same way that Demko does. And even Tolopilo, same idea, right? Big body works the system in coaching. So when you have guys go from one system to another, it's dropped the value of what a goaltender's worth in trade now too. So
but do you think enough teams have caught on to that?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, I mean, we understand how systems work, but I think there's still teams that are trading for a goaltender.
I do, but probably only in the sense that they believe their system can accommodate it.
Right.
So like you and I spent a lot of time.
I can change him.
Yeah. You and I spent a lot of time talking to Sarah Sullivan,
no one else,
right?
No one else could change him. I can change him.
And she had to talk about the fact that the way they coached Kemper was completely different than the way they coached. I can't remember the other guy that was there at the time. I wanted another Finnish
guy. No.
So
somebody else.
But it was a challenge because that goaltender dealt differently with the type of shots that Phoenix gave up. Right.
Was Mike Smith?
No, it wasn't Mike Smith. It was like a younger guy. Anyways,
okay.
Some
young guy.
We can figure some young guy.
Okay.
But it's not like the way that goaltending is set up is now not that you can insert a guy. You're almost better bringing in a guy from your system that can do the same job versus having a guy move from system to system to system, right? When you saw Ryan Miller come to Vancouver and then Ryan Miller to Anaheim, it was different.
That's a great example. Yeah, I think, and it sucked because by the time Ryan Miller became something in Vancouver and we actually finally all loved him, it was too late.
Yeah.
So they did change him, but it was too late. He moved on.
Do you think the modern goalie is just not as good in terms of trading for a goalie, and you're having to build your system around their weaknesses? Or do you think that the system building has made the goalie less relevant?
I think maybe they not necessarily expose the weaknesses, but they probably, based on the system, like maybe amplify their strengths.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just doesn't make you jump out as much.
No, like you're going to see, like, hey, these are the things you do really well, but these are the things that, based on our system, this is what we likely are giving up. This is like based on your cross crease or your reverse VH or whatever. Like you know, here's the tape where you used to give up. Yeah, exactly. Reverse VH. Yes. David Quadrelli is like, I'm listening. Chris Faber is now unsubscribed to the PP1 podcast. Yeah, I think there's just like any of us, we all have our strengths and stuff, but at the same time, like if you can say like, hey, based on how we operate in this system, like if you do this thing, if we can coach this into you, this is where you now can be. And these aren't, you know, maybe not your weaknesses anymore. Like we can actually just kind of, here's your floor, but your ceiling is this much higher.
I don't know the stats, but is scoring not going up in the last few years?
I feel like it is.
So is that actually working? Or the players just like the forwards just getting better and more skilled? Because if scoring's going up, then the defensive systems aren't actually working.
I mean, that's a good question.
Maybe scoring's not actually going up. It just feels like it is.
But I mean, you still see low scoring games. And I think it just depends on the team, because I think there are some teams that don't give up a ton of goals. There's still plenty of those, but there's also track meets, you know, one a night pretty much.
I think a big difference now in the way that teams attack is almost like, and it feels weird saying this, but it's almost like watching two NFL teams prepare for each other throughout the course of a week.
Mm-hmm.
So teams don't just roll in there and they're like, we're going to play our game. Like, no, it's not like that.
I mean, there are some NFL teams that do that.
Maybe, but they like most commonly they're going in to expose a specific weakness, right? And so when they attack goaltenders, they attack the same way.
Right.
So they're obviously doing things that they're good at, going cross crease like Draisaitl, McDavid, or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
But then there's like, okay, where is this goalie weak? We're going to attack that portion of the system, break down the defense, and then go at that portion to get this goalie, right?
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, a really good goalie who's high quality at every level, if you now find yourself in that zone where he's being beat frequently,
mm-hmm.
that becomes an issue. And you see a Stuart Skinner, get pulled from a game or two in the first round of the series and be brought in for a Pickard because a team matches up better stylistically against his weaknesses versus what his strengths are. Because Skinner was fine all year, but they were playing versus teams that weren't able to break them down in that fashion, right? So it's a different issue. And it's like how some teams and some quarterbacks don't struggle against specific teams. They struggle against specific defenses. Mm-hmm. And it's the same way as a goaltender struggling against a specific offensive setup.
Yeah. I think you bring up Skinner. I mean, that series was basically Vancouver's to lose, and then they lost it. But I mean, they basically exposed a Stuart Skinner, and he comes back in the series, and they like double down on him. And like, is that? I mean, yeah, they lost in the Stanley Cup final, Game 7, but I mean, that's probably one of the more remarkable comebacks as far as seeing a goalie absolutely buried, and then coming back and then sticking it in their face in the Canucks. Like, I
mean, it wasn't a whole lot different than what happened at Luongo.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would be like, yeah, if Luongo comes, what you mean in the final?
Like when did he give up the net to Schneider?
Oh, you mean like officially? I thought you meant like in the play. Well,
no, in the playoffs.
That would have been.
So sometimes you get
20.
Pulled,
that was
and then you
after.
have to,
that was 2012.
Yeah. So sometimes you get pulled and then you have to go back to a guy,
mm-hmm.
right? But it allows your team to reset and defend.
Yeah.
In a manner that accommodates that specific goalie again,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, would have been nice had they figured that out in 2011, but that's a different story. Let's get into before we get into rappers and other things. So, yeah, Grant's 50% not a real farmer. Listen, bro. Just because I don't get paid to do it doesn't mean I'm not 50% a real farmer.
favorite goalies from this era, by the way. I'm a huge UC Saros fan.
Yeah.
UC Saros, yeah.
Super fun.
I think, oh man. I mean, when he's on, Officer Bobrovsky is a lot of fun. I mean, he's kind of like the really, really good version of Czechmanic. You know what I mean? Like,
Did you just compare
I did.
him to Roman Chichman?
That's right. But I mean, Roman
more of a Roman Turek guy.
Yeah.
Roman Turk was pretty
That was
awesome.
going to be on my top favorite masks.
But like, if you think about it, yeah,
The Eddie mask.
yeah. If you think about like what Czechmanic was, and I mean, that's a really crude comparison. But I mean, he was like, I'm gonna try to like tie this all in.
No, not Ontario Ninimaki.
No,
Some people would say Roman Chichman
the
was the
songbird,
greatest goalie of all
the
time.
songbird of our time. So I mean, he was like phenomenally boomer bust. Like the Flyers would just like, he was either like the guy, basically all-star goaltender, or he was the literal worst goaltender in the NHL. And Bobrovsky went through like, he made his big run and then signed the big contract, and then basically was just a phenomenally horrible goaltender. And then out of nowhere, like dialed it back in, and just basically, it feels like he almost relearned goaltending. And now he's like a superstar. And he has a Stanley Cup.
Well, when he was playing,
Roman Czechmanic never did that, just to be fair.
when that was happening, the game was changing. The way that goalies were making save was changing. They turned from making saves into being blockers, essentially, right?
Right.
It's a very blocking position now.
Do you
But
like that pull? That's a pretty good pull. If like Roman Turk, that's a good pull. Nobody's talking about Roman Czechmanic though.
Yeah,
What's
that's a
he up
good
to?
Freddie Brathwaite pull. I like that one.
People have talked about Freddie Brathwaite.
Yeah, golden age of Russian goaltenders right now, right?
I think so.
You got
And
Vasilevsky, you got Sorokin, Shesterkin, like they're everywhere right now.
And
these
we're in
Russian guys.
and we are in like the absolute trash bin for Canadian goaltenders right now. It's like
Yeah.
Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah, Canadian
That's it.
goaltending. We don't talk enough about this. Like
That's it,
Connor Hellebuck is not a Canadian, also.
isn't he?
No,
Close enough.
like
It's the borders right
the
there.
Olympics start right now. Who is your starter for Team Canada?
Jared Allen.
Is it Aiden Hill?
No, who's the Allen I'm thinking of?
Jake Allen.
Jake Allen. I said
Jordan
Jared.
Bennington?
He could play.
For real, is it Aiden Hill? Like, is it Binnington?
It's Hill, Skinner, Bennington.
That's
It's not a. Yeah, it's not the.
Carey Price was the last great Canadian goaltender.
so. I mean,
what about
Is
Fleury?
it Catahat? Yeah, Catahat.
Mark-
Anybody?
No, probably not Carter.
No, it's definitely not Carter Hart.
I think he's got some legal issues. No, I mean, if Stuart Skinner, I mean, I could see him being the guy only because, like, although we'd get exposed when he doesn't have Draisaitl and McDavid anymore.
Well, I mean, you'd have some other pretty good players playing with you, and
Yeah.
probably McDavid is one of them.
Yeah.
But
He
yeah,
might be
your
getting married,
team is
though.
probably looking something like, without knowing off the top of my head, is it Aiden Hill?
What does that tell? Like, what does that tell you?
Aiden Hill, Jordan Binnington. Well, Aiden Hill is there. That's crazy enough. And Skinner, is that it?
That's your three.
Canadian goaltending.
Yeah.
That's your three. Are you sure Connor Hellebuck's not a Canadian?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. That was just me being in summer mode. I'm sorry.
American goaltending is on fire right now.
Yeah, and now you're leaving guys out. It's like, well, yeah, Thatcher Demko, he'll be on the team. Like, yeah, he better be on the team. And Connor Hellebuck will be
Russia
on the
looks
team.
good. Sweden looks good. Finland looks good.
Is there an Elias Pettersson goaltender? Do we know about?
Maybe.
Because I mean, there's a forward and a defense, so it's
The
only
GPD.
Wow. I actually like that. So what do you got? Grant's got I wish Russia wasn't led by such a shitty guy because I'd love to see the best play again.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, well, yeah. We'd probably get to see a lot more things if he wasn't in charge. Probably just a better world. We need that song back. So let's go quick top 3 hockey games, and then we'll get into
Top 3 hockey games?
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if
like
I know the
NHL
years.
games.
97, 95, 94.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, NHL 94.
Okay. Yep.
I'd have to say, like, I think it was like 2002. That was when they brought in all of the extra leagues and stuff, and like real intense, like owner mode,
Was it 02?
where you had to go through the draft.
That
and
feels early.
I think it's 2002.
So the year that they brought in the other stuff. Is ice hockey in there at all?
No,
No.
That's fun though.
Blades of Steel.
Blades of Steel's fun.
Blades of Steel is probably in there.
Yeah. I'm gonna remove 97.
97.
94.
I didn't love
That's like saying
97.
favorite football games and not including Tecmo Super Bowl.
Tecmo was a lot of fun. I would say for me, like 04 with a bullet is the best one. Only because, I mean, you could, well, the nice thing, and I don't know if they do this anymore, but you could play like a playoff series against your buddy. You could have a 7 game.
You can still do that.
Have they added that? Because they took it away for a long time.
Playoffs. I think playoffs are back. Yeah, that was like a big thing in '94. I think too.
So like, yeah, like buddy system where you're playing 7 games. So a buddy of mine in college, like every day, NHL hits. Yeah.
So hits is on my list too. That was something that me and
Open
my
ice.
brothers played 5-6 nights a week.
Remember when Open Ice came out on arcade?
There was like a rule where you couldn't be Buffalo because Maxim Affinaganoff was too fast.
Or you couldn't be Detroit in Open Ice because they had Fedorov and Yzerman, and like it was.
Yeah, and they were ranked first or second in every category.
Yeah, I think like I said, 04 in college, my buddy and I, like pretty much like every day after class, or when we had like spares or whatever, we'd go and we would just play like all the time, like a 7 game series, like every day. He usually threw the controller down most days.
Okay. Chris Phillips, NHL '96, Sega Genesis. This kid knows what's up.
96 was good because they brought back fighting in that game. So they removed fighting from like 90, I think 94 and 95 after 93. And then that's how years work. And then 96, they brought back fighting, I think, for the first time. But I think they still had the, what is he saying?
Classic Brad.
Friggin' Brad, eh?
Brad, guy.
Always using Max Affinaganoff.
That was like a beret wraparound in 95.
Max Affinaganoff was what we wanted in real life and was just excellent in
You
video.
remember when he was Beret Light?
There was a lot of comparisons about Max Affinaganoff, and he was pushing territory, but he never
In
never
my
got over it.
garage right now is a TPS stick that is a Max Affinaganoff curve, just so you know.
Franchise player, not elite.
Yeah,
Just like me.
Throwing it back.
he's not exactly in that the Briere. Who was smaller than Briere? Wasn't there a small who was a small guy for Buffalo? When the Slugs were
Rocco
there?
Grimaldi,
No, not Rocco Grimaldi.
5'5".
Who is the really short guy for Nathan? Was it Nathan Gerby?
Oh, Nate Gerby.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's who I'm thinking of. No, there was one more guy I'm missing.
Well,
For the Buffalo Slugs.
Daniel Briere did play for Buffalo.
Yeah,
and
no,
was
there's
small.
one more. There's one more guy on the Buffalo Slugs. I feel like I'm missing. Blonde dude. Oh, I can't remember.
A
Steve
small
Sullivan.
blonde dude.
Yeah, for the Buffalo Slugs. I feel like I'm missing out on somebody that was really important there. I'll figure it out. Corey Conacher. It wasn't Corey Conacher.
I don't know, but Steve Shields was Dominic Hasek's backup back then.
Interesting. Steve Sullivan became an urban legend because they came with our friend group.
Corey Conacher.
Corey Conacher. Yeah, I said it wasn't. It's not Corey Conacher. Anyway, Matthew, because you're a guest,
Yeah.
and this has been something you've been asking to talk about on our show, because we're clearly the legends of talking about the 90s and 2000s urban hip hop scene.
Oh yeah.
What exactly do you want to get into? Is there like a battle or a beef that
Nope.
you feel that people
No
are on
beef.
there? You just
It's
want to
a-
like
it's a
name drop?
topic I know you guys understand. I wanna talk
So
to
like,
the
are we
kids
going to be
that
talking
are
about the Rascals,
Rascals, actually.
Choclair,
Julie Black,
Chaos,
Chaos.
Yes.
Cardinal
No,
Official,
it's just to throw the topic out there. Since
Pharaoh
we're talking
Monk?
since we're talking about the same era of hockey,
Yeah, okay.
the greatest era of hockey.
Greatest era of hockey combined with the greatest era of rap.
Exactly.
Was there a West Coast and East Coast battle back then too?
Yeah, it was Vancouver versus New York.
That's true. I don't think it was quite the same as Biggie versus Tupac.
Nobody died.
That's true. It's like, had anybody gone to that Tyson fight in hockey? I
There
think
was a riot though.
That's true. There was a riot. So, I mean, again, no one died in the riot though?
No.
Nobody was shot at an after party. So, what do you want to get into?
I'd like your top 5.
So, and like no jokes, no organized rhyme. Okay, we're not.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, how about your top 5 and it's your favorite top 5, not
My
not
favorite, not like
you
who's
had
the
to-
best.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the time, like,
And Fred Durst doesn't count.
ugh. It's not rap. It's not hip hop.
mean,
I mean, I was a huge Puff Daddy
talking
fan.
about top 5 songs? Or are we talking about
No,
top
just
5
guys.
artists?
Guys. I was a huge like Puffy
You
fan.
were a big Puffy fan.
What did I say?
I'm just making sure you're.
Oh
saying
yeah, I
you
said were. Absolutely.
You loved No Way Out.
like the wrestling
Is
pay-per-view.
that what it's called? Was that what that big album was called,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. I was
I love that album too. It was
Puffy and Mace. I mean, Mace was pretty cool. I didn't love Mace, but I mean, he had some good tracks.
Yeah, they just tried too hard with Mace.
I think they did.
Replace Biggie and
Now, what I'm going to say, as all Jersey City guys, what they did, what Mace and Puffy did in the Feel So Good music video, which basically changed like the headwear game 1,000,000%, is when they had different color Yankee fitteds. They had the red, they had the green, they had the blue.
Yeah, Fred Durst, big influencer in the red Yankee hat.
Well, yeah, exactly. What's he up to these days? What's he up to? But I mean,
Shout out Victoria Cleveland.
did he put a hit on Tupac? I mean, it happened.
Sorry, what?
It happened late to the party here. I mean,
And the hat deal with Nero, yes, Chris.
that is actually
100% great.
pretty awesome.
Just
But I
lasted
mean,
about 10 years.
so growing up, we had, I mean, there was hats. There was your whatever hats, like basically like not a good version of that, but they had, just basic hats, right? And then we all had like MLB hats. That was becoming a cool thing. Even if you weren't like a baseball fan, you had like, you wanted to buy like a fitted of whatever team. I had like the Cleveland Indians hat like every year. And as my head grew, got a new one. So went from a tidy little 7 1/8, maybe even a 7 to, well, I'm a healthy 7.5 now, and I don't do steroids. But when they came out with those different color Yankee fitteds, I was like, I think things are about to change. And they did. Like, I mean, our days working the sports game, I mean, how many different custom hats exist now? It's insane. I mean, geez, I have hat shelves in my closet because that's what I asked for when we built this place. Because I have so many hats. It's ridiculous. But there's no stopping it now. Like now a basic hat, you almost kind of, what did he say? I'll be supporting my Dutch boys for the game. There you go. Yeah, too bad Canada didn't pull it off.
No, I have to because my wife is Dutch. So it's like not like Fiji has a soccer team.
And if you ain't Dutch, you ain't much. So yeah, I don't know. That was a big thing for me, that music video, Puffy and Mace. And then that Bad Boys for Life song, that still holds a place in my heart.
I saw like there was like a meme and it was like, why do all, it was the inside of do you want to tell it?
I know.
I was just gonna say it was also a great influencer for cheese graters.
It's true. Every rap video shot in the early 2000s shouldn't be a rap video. Every pop rap video shot in the early 2000s looks like the inside of a cheese grater.
Some of my favorite
Look it up.
Britney Spears videos were inside of a cheese grater. Pretty sure.
Yeah. Okay. Who else?
So Puffy. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, because I wasn't like huge into hip hop in my like late teens until kind of like my mid 20s. So I mean, like I liked Will Smith again, and I liked
It's fine.
past tense Will Smith.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
do I have to keep his name out of my mouth now?
It's for the look. Don't bite it.
Yeah.
Parents just don't understand.
Welcome to Miami. Yeah, I don't know. He's just he made cool songs back in the day. I feel we could all identify with his
Luda.
coolness.
There you go.
Luda was pretty good. I don't know, like, because I didn't really listen to a lot of like Tupac and like Big and all that. Big
That's the same.
Big.
Yeah, he was big.
until kind of like after. So I really didn't get to appreciate, their artistry until after, if you will.
That's
Like the first Tupac song I heard was Changes.
Yeah, that's everybody's first Tupac song.
But I mean, that was my gateway drug into one of the illest of all time. Dr. Dre.
Yeah, I was I like Dre was
The Tronic.
Dre was big, like via Dre, Ice Cube, right? But then it kind of tapered off from there. Like I spent if I'm really being true, and I'm not just saying like Pac and Biggie because that was what was big.
No,
back
but
then.
you're saying favorite. Your favorite.
Yeah,
saying
like
favorite.
back then, like when I was really into it, like Wu-Tang was something that was huge, but I wasn't into it as big as I thought I would be. So I
forgot one. You keep
I
going.
would probably say like Fugees were massive for me.
Yeah.
Back when we were like in like formative.
Ryan looked like he used a cheese cream. Wow. Thanks, Chris. Missed you on the football show, man.
Yeah. Formative rap years, Fugees, like freaking because of Fugees, love Lauryn Hill.
Mhm.
I don't know if that you can't really say that's 90s, I suppose. That's probably like
No, it's late
2000s.
90s. Yeah, late 90s. That counts.
Yeah, like
So I got one, and I feel bad embracing my whiteness on this. The Beastie Boys.
Bone Thugs.
Bone
was massive
Thugs.
for me
Oh,
too.
Bone Thugs is good. Beastie Boys.
Yeah, there's no feeling bad about the Beastie Boys.
No. Like I feel bad that I didn't say it to start.
Okay.
So yeah, I remember hearing because my cousin had like a Sony Discman he won from the newspaper.
Yellow?
No, this is before that one.
Oh, not an anti-shock.
No, it wasn't. This is before any of that. This was the black Sony Discman. It was like square with like a slight little windshield raised on it. And I remember we were at my grandparents' house. He's like, because he used to like go there after school all the time. He's like, you got to hear this. So he put in, put in Sabotage, License to Ill. And I'm just like, I don't know what this is, but this is awesome. And yeah, then I found out about the Beastie Boys and, big fan of Beastie Boys. Hello, Nasty.
What about you, Matt? You've been kind of quiet over there. I know for a fact there's some good stuff in there.
We almost need an intermission because he's going to be a while.
How can you be a hat guy and not have Fabulous in your top 5? Throw back this, throw back that. It even looks better with a matching hat.
Oh, Fabulous.
He had
I
the
forgot
greatest
about him.
jersey hat collection.
He did.
And I think they did cribs, and he was the first dude to have a jersey room. And
Did-
it wasn't showcased on walls. There were racks upon racks of jerseys.
Did Josh Cribbs ever do a show of Cribbs?
No,
that's too bad.
I don't think so.
probably should have.
He
Probably.
should've. That would have been great.
So, sorry. So Fabulous. That's probably your honorable mention.
Just on topic.
Just
yes.
for his fashion game. Okay.
My cousin.
My cousin was. Listen, man, he won it from the newspaper, and we listened to the Beastie
You're
Boys.
the
That's a
same
good
age,
story.
Chris. Get out of here.
He's not even.
Scram. Yeah, I know. Mine changed too. Like when I was that age, it was all the West Coast dudes. It was Ice Cube and Tupac and Exhibit. And
Yeah, early Exhibit.
those kind of dudes. And then as I've gotten older,
So bad.
super different.
He was.
Exhibit? Yeah.
Exhibit was so.
This
scary.
was pre Pimp My
He
Ride.
just always
Yeah.
looks so angry. Like I would never fuck with that guy.
No.
And-
Until Pimp My Ride. And then he's like, this guy, I want to give him a big hug.
Now you're just like, you know what? I bet my parents would like to meet this
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. West Side Connection. If Greg Foster happens to be
Oh
watching
man.
this, that's his
Big
favorite
Dub
as
C
well.
guy.
Big Dub C guy.
Big Dub C guy.
Yeah. Actually, Dub C was rad on his own. Those were my
West Side Connection.
back in
Oh,
those
man.
days. Yeah, that's definitely changed. Also, big Lauryn Hill. I put Lauryn Hill in my top 10
Lauryn
no
Hill's
matter
dope.
what. No matter what.
Wyclef.
Like a Mobb Deep guy back in the day.
Yeah, Mobb Deep.
sure was.
Yeah, more now. I think I've gone from West Coast to East Coast.
So
pretty
I'm.
much.
This is.
Like Talib Kweli.
Yeah.
I.
Most
You know what? I like him now. I like all of like his stuff now.
But if we're
for
talking
me.
about what we were listening to in the late
Yeah.
90s,
I wasn't-
early 2000s,
wasn't.
I wasn't
Yeah.
into that stuff.
Yeah, when I was watching Roman Czechmanic play.
Like, you're 50% sure about that?
No, I'm
100%.
59%.
59%. Matt loved the dudes with the pencil thin beards and big diamond earrings.
Yeah, like Fabulous.
That
You got it.
was that guy.
That was Matt
It
to
was
a
me,
T.
Matt.
That was
It was
Matt
me.
to a T.
Chin strap.
So I'm going to talk about Warren G for a second here.
Ooh,
Yes.
this is
This might be a very unpopular opinion. I don't love the whole Regulator song. I only like the first
Steve Fisher, massive regulator.
really.
It's easily top 10 songs of all time.
Like
Steve you were
Fisher.
wrong.
I said it's an unpopular opinion, and I didn't say you had to
Super
like it,
unpopular.
but I really like the
It's one
beginning.
of the worst takes
Okay.
I've ever heard.
So
I love the beginning of My Heart Will Go On, but not the end.
because I
Just
mean,
think about
because
the
at that
fact
point your
there's
heart
room
goes
that
on.
door for her.
That heart goes on, and there wasn't enough room on the door. So this is we're including early 2000s, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So this song still absolutely slams. If you are a kid or a single guy, because there's no way, or you borrowed like your wife's SUV that has a really good sound system.
Escalade.
If you got one of those,
I love that too, Chris.
if you got one of those, good on you. I'm about to tell you a song that same cousin, we worked together out of high school. Same cousin. He introduced me to this song, and I swear to you, I've never heard a sound system thump so hard in my life. I'm talking about Mr. Noriega himself and Super Thug. That song absolutely shreds. Noriega, Super Thug. If
Yeah. Chris,
Outkast is
Chris
nice.
is right on Outkast, but I wasn't listening. I was thinking early '90s. I still wasn't into Outkast.
Yeah.
At that point.
So yeah, I was it 2001? I think I heard that song. Super Thug. The whole song is just like it's a lyrical masterpiece, and the backtrack on that thing just thumps. When you are introduced to your first sound system in a car, and you got a big 12-inch sub, and you just want to see what can this thing do.
Somewhat unrelated, I have Ryan's 12-inch.
Actually, that was the first sub I tried that song on. That's it. Fun fact. Fun fact. So anyway, yeah, go check out Super Thug by One Noriega.
Yeah.
If
That was like listening to hip hop by Dead Prez. I remember in my cousin's friend's car, Matt in Surrey, and I got out.
How long do we want to be here for? Because things are getting real right now.
That was it. That was the base.
I like and we'll have to maybe do this next time, but like I like these lists of like, because it's hard to put a top 5 together, but one of my favorite is like, what's your top 5 that aren't in the top 5? So everybody has the same top 5, it feels
so
like,
what's
right?
your next 5?
What's your next
Can
5?
we determine what that top 5 is? Let everyone.
I need
Tupac,
time.
Biggie, Eminem, Jay-Z, Nas. Maybe.
Probably. Yeah, that seems
Yeah,
fair.
Nas
So
is in
outside
there.
of that.
So outside of those
Oh,
5.
made you look. That's a good one. The remixes I find better than the first one because they shooting. Oh, made you
It's
look.
Black Thought,
Black Thought.
Most Def. I don't know, Ice Cube, Method Man, but they might also live in the top 5.
Method Man,
Three
and Redman.
Stacks.
Can you just include them together?
Yes.
Okay.
Method Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andre 3000, but also
3000.
he probably
3000's
also lives
borderline
in the top 5.
Yeah.
He's just. Would you say he's like underappreciated?
I think he's rated.
He's just rated
Yeah,
like Jetta.
He's not a little stitious.
Okay,
I don't think he's underrated. I don't think he's overrated. I think he's rated.
Yeah.
he's rated. That's fair. I'm just sorry. I'm watching a guy on the
Fat Joe. Oh man.
Whew.
Fat Joe.
DMX.
DMX, yeah. DMX is a mean man.
I was more of a big pun guy than a Fat Joe guy.
I didn't like them. I didn't like either.
Yeah,
of
I'm not a
them,
big
so.
fan either of him. Can we talk about Fat Joe's beard? Is it the worst beard of all time?
I'd say anything Chris Phillips has ever grown is probably the worst beard of all time.
Oh, you know what? Chris has had some good beards.
Yeah, Chris has got some.
Yeah, it's just every time he grew it, he's like, I can't pick up my kids today because he knows it comes from a place of love. Yeah, I would say those are just.
Like,
I would say he's rated.
Dre's got to be in there. Cube's probably got to be somewhere in there.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, yeah, Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre. But Dr. Dre dope as all around, but as a rapper, does he live in your 5 that's not top 5?
I mean, he's
In
probably.
influence.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, you can't go influencer because we're just talking about the music.
Just
We're talking
straight
about
up rap.
because I mean, yeah, as an influencer, like yeah, he's kind of done some stuff.
Yeah, like Fred Durst.
Are we gonna get into Creed all of a sudden somehow? I don't know. I had some bad beers too. Yeah, I think we've all been.
I always find the next 5 list is more intriguing than the top 5 list.
Yeah, the next 5.
Well, because the first 5's easy, right?
First 5 is easy. The next 5 is kind of your favorites.
Noriega.
Like I'd put Jurassic 5 in there.
Jurassic.
That's just one
Fairmont.
of my all-time.
Yeah, and that was you. So Matt got me super into Jurassic. What must have been 2010s, earlier than that even.
Yeah, probably late 2000s.
Interesting.
Hot take: Snoop Dogg is overrated.
That was when we went to the.
I don't think he's
I think
overrated.
Snoop Dogg is rated.
I would say he's rated. I mean, again, take away the influence and everything. I would say he's rated. I mean,
That's not nearly as bad of a hot take as Ryan had about
I somewhat
regulator being
agree
bad.
with Chris on this one from like a music standpoint, I think he's somewhat overrated because I think he's sort of been coasting on what he did in the 90s all the way through.
Yeah,
There hasn't really been anything awesome. He's still like lyrically very good,
you're right.
but I don't even know if he's very good anymore. It's just
Not
awesome having
anymore.
him featured on
I would
stuff.
say like the early 2000s, he still had a couple bangers, but
Yeah, he wins with the cool factor.
Yeah, and
It
it's
doesn't-
untouchable.
Yeah.
Cool factor is underrated
Yeah.
because you're never cool enough to be Snoop Dogg.
I mean, he has the Snooper Bowl.
He does. We'll also put Luda on that. I think.
Oof.
Luda is
I think when
underrated.
you look back at Luda, he was one after another hit after hit, and they would
Luda is
go.
underrated.
His was it Saint Lunatics? that he
Oh
did on the
man,
side?
yeah.
That was rad.
Nelly
That was
and
Nelly.
Or was that Nelly?
Yeah.
this is tough, guys.
Yeah.
This is tough.
Lunatics, Midwest Swing. Yeah.
Matthew, thank you for bringing that into it. Like, I mean, I feel like people are, we just don't have enough of a range of an audience to get all the good stuff we're forgetting. But we've kind of gotten into that. Wu-Tang Clan, definitely. Did you see?
Wu-Tang.
So you saw what was that Martin Shkreli guy or whatever? Remember he bought like the one Wu-Tang album that they made that, and then it's in Australia or something like that. And I guess like a few, because they had like a listening thing, you could go listen to it in like was it a museum or something, like something ridiculous out in Australia. And I think it was on like Complex or something. And they're like, is it really that good? And I was thinking, man, if I paid $1 million for an album, this better be one of the greatest things I've ever had grace my ears. So that would scare me. I wouldn't, I feel like I would be like too jacked up to hear this and then be like, yeah, I mean, it's all right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Wu-Tang's maybe the greatest story in the history of rap. Just a bunch of scrappy dudes who blasted it together, and you can still buy their shirts at Walmart now.
That's
like there was no.
They didn't even sell it.
There's
It was like,
no
we had
reason
to
for
do
them
this.
to be that big.
Yeah.
They've been influenced.
I got a Macho Man Randy Savage Wu-Tang shirt.
Nice.
That's
Hannah
awesome.
has a Wu-Tang pizza shirt. Just a Wu-Tang with pizza grease.
You know what? And I mean, this is a fair thing to say. Like Wu-Tang is for the children.
They are.
So, and I find it hard on this list here, but like, and we can probably end it after this, but best sort of current working right now modern rappers. Like for me, it's probably Logic because I find that hard to beat, but there's a couple of good ones.
I mean,
Yeah.
I like Big Sean.
Big Sean.
Yeah.
Big Sean guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know any Big.
He's very lyrical. I mean, everyone, Kendrick and Drake. Like, I mean, if you was it what was the one that he won his Grammy for?
Which one?
The last
Which guy are you talking
Kendrick.
about?
What was his big like his like Holland's Opus?
Like to Pimp a Butterfly?
Maybe that's the one. Yeah. I mean, the guy. I think when you just appreciate how they lyric, because I mean, like Jay-Z's like really good. Like he can match up. He's almost like beats to lyrics almost. Like whereas other guys kind of just like go for like the story. And
Yeah.
I mean, they can diss tracks are coming back, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I like the diss tracks. I'm Logic.
I tried texting Ted diss tracks, and he just takes forever to text back, and then
You texted me knock knock.
yeah, and you didn't even finish. Like 2 hours later, he's like, "Who's there?" Didn't work out. So yeah, I would Big Sean. Okay.
Yeah, I'm Young Sinatra Logic.
I don't even know
like
who
his
the
other
Young
Logic
Sinatra
stuff.
is.
No, that's like his. He's got 4 of the albums on. He does that. It's kind of like.
Is he
early-
related to Sinatra?
If you're a Wu-Tang guy, you have to
Okay.
check out
Young
the
Sinatra.
collab that he did with it's got 8-minute song. It's old school. It's really good.
Okay.
But
All
his
right.
other stuff is like trap, and it's not for me. That's young people music.
I still like Made You Look by Nas. It's a good song.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Again, the remix I like better than the original. That's myself. New Eminem drops this Friday. Is he just like shock rap? Like is Eminem like aside from him being like incredible at like
No, he's not shock rap. Insane Clown Posse is shock.
I don't even have enough time for that on my show.
He's still like trying to push the envelope on how rap is developed.
I don't know.
I've never been a big Eminem guy, but I will not dare take away from the legacy he's put together.
Mainly because he did drop Venom, and that was one of his best songs ever.
Sure was a bad movie though.
It wasn't great. Now, if he was on the Spider-Man soundtrack, that's a different story. But no, that was awesome. Yeah, Anything else you got going on, Maddie? You're how's the Okanagan lifestyle doing?
good.
Anything you want to chat about on there?
We have our adventure list, which is pretty fun. It's 50 adventures to do in the Okanagan over the summer, and there's weekly prizes and a big, huge grand prize with a couple nights at the Delta.
Now, which one of you won that before you worked
We
there?
both were.
Did you both win?
You won summer, right?
I won the
And then Jen and I won winter.
That's unreal. So it is a pretty massive list. Definitely celebrates the Okanagan and all the cool stuff that exists, from going to Tickleberries to like sup boards and I don't know, just stuff, all the cool stuff you get to do. Complaining about, is there one like complaining about how hot it is in the Okanagan? Is that just
it's if you say it's not the heat, it's the humidity.
It's a real dry heat.
It's real dry.
not at the ball field? It is humid.
It's raining again, but we really need it.
That's a good point. Big shout out to Matthew at Okanagan for supporting Kelowna Minor Lacrosse this season. Was it just you personally doing that?
We
store?
We hooked up some prizes.
The store.
Prizes.
So yeah, OKGN, Okanagan Lifestyle. These guys are absolutely awesome. Very, very cool startup that is now way past the startup.
10 years now.
Yeah, it gets 10 years. Really?
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
They've supported our family as far as my kids' sporting dreams, as well as many other families. Salt to the earth people, very fun, very innovative in different things, very involved in the community. Even like what was the hat last year? The Okanagan.
OKGN strong, the fire relief.
Yeah, so the cool hat. My wife Christine wears that one all the time. It's awesome. Yeah, the home base stuff, like just involved. Very cool people. Our good friend Matt obviously works there. Nothing but good things to say.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
It's what we do.
I think I gotta sneak in there and pick up one of those blue spring hats.
Yeah, I'll put some aside for you. They're pretty low.
Pretty low. Like, do they fit low?
Shorty
Like, is
got
it a low
low.
fitted?
Low.
Sure. Low.
And again, I think you guys next week should talk about the new era deal for the NHL, because
I think
an important conversation to have another day, because that's super dope.
It's funny actually, because Chris and I on the chat there, Chris Phillips and I were talking about how New Era lost the NFL and how there was such a good thing that they had there that we thought was just going to be a forever thing, and it fell off the map. And it's like, it sucks because now we're in a mode that we can't get that stuff.
And the CFL's still doing New Era, aren't they? Like, I know, whatever, but do they not still have the New Era deal in the CFL as well?
I don't know. I think it's still Reebok.
RBK. Jeez, Louise.
Or Game 7.
Games. The Lycan.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Jeez. Yeah, it hit here. Is it? Don't just subscribe, like in this, so we can. What did he say?
50% would recommend Matt try this.
Again. Grant, we love you, man.
Good reference.
I really appreciate that.
So Teddy, when are you going in?
I think my last day of work is the 19th, and I'm going in on the 24th.
Okay.
Surgery. Here we go.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling
some real talk.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling good. I think my mindset has switched a little bit. I've gone from like the whole, I can't believe I'm going to go in for surgery. I'm going to miss like 2-3 months. Like, we're finally making progress and I feel bad that I'm going to be away, and to, you know what? It might be really fun to have like this 2-month reset where I can just take some time and think about it and not be at work and not have other commitments and just really just do kind of whatever I want that I can do physically during that time frame, and just like think about recovering, right? And being in a good mindset and sorting myself up from like a mental standpoint, and then slowly creeping my way into rehab, right? I mean, it's a weird thing to have to go through. It's a weird thing to have to go through it twice. So I think I want to take all of the best things that came out of the first one and really try to like lean into those. So probably less time where I'm like on my own and I don't have visitors, probably try to be a little bit more social, be more down with having people come visit and come in and sort of escape that sort of depression of being on your own. I started seeing a counselor just recently to sort of help with some of that, and like that mind block that you get into when you go through an injury, and Grant and Chris know a lot about this, having to go through some big surgeries themselves. So I think I'm just going to try to take a different approach to it. Let's first wake up, and then we'll get to work after that and see what's in front of us and work at rehabbing.
Love it. Well, I mean, I think everybody's scared and excited for you. Scared, obviously, because it's
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
this is
you need to get it done, right? Like
Yeah.
I have to get this done.
this
It's important.
this isn't just like a little thing. Like it's. I mean, we joke about it. Like, Ted's always late. And like, oh, it's probably a hard thing. Or something.
Yeah, and so yeah,
But seriously,
for anybody who doesn't know, if you missed the last episode
Yeah.
or whatever, it's a bicuspid aortic valve replacement, and it'll be my second one. The first one was done, and it was supposed to sort of be the forever valve, and something went wrong in there, so they got to get in there and switch it out. And then, knock on wood, this is the one. So we'll get it done and get it fixed, and then I can start just looking up and making progress. Right?
do you have a tattoo planned for after this is all done?
I'm probably done getting tattoos now, right? I can't risk any kind of infection past that point down the road, because that might be what put me in a bad spot this time. There might be an infection in there that they got to go clear out and cut out, right? So
you can't do even branding or anything.
I'm probably done with tattoos. Yeah, unfortunately.
Wow. Folks, if you've seen this body, he's like the mini Rock. So
It's got enough tattoos, I think.
yeah, Maui's calling it a career. There you go. Maddie, this has been fun. I 100% am thankful that you came to this.
Thank you for being 100% thankful.
100% thankful you came on our show. As
Hey,
always,
floor is yours though. Anything you got going on in the next little bit here? What can you tell us?
I think I told you guys all. Yeah. No,
Home base coming up.
Home base is it's done.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I think it's done maybe forever, which is too bad because that was a super fun tournament.
Great
But
yeah,
that's how she goes. It's tough to get all the students. They get a lot of requests for events as a professional athlete. So
That's
just
fair.
trying to move on to something else. So that's
Cool.
it. Just gonna go jump in the pool after this.
Oh, yeah. I might do
'Cause
also
kids
the same.
The kids are at grandma and grandpa's tonight. So
Yeah, mine are also, but 8 hours away. So
nice.
I could just go swim in my parents' pool, which is conveniently.
It's
We
not
could
a-
all just
it's
go.
not a competition. Right?
We could all just go there. You don't even have to go to your own.
That's fine. I'll go.
You bring trunks.
Think so.
Teddy, we haven't done like an in-person one in like forever.
that's great.
Probably the last time was when Matt was here, or Steve Fisher maybe.
Maybe one or the other.
So anyway, this is the PP1 podcast summer show on the Hockey Podcast Network. I mean, obviously, we're presented by DraftKings promo code THPN and Manscaped. Don't forget about Manscaped, because they're going to help you stay clean in these hot summer months. Keep things, appropriate, so you don't go to the beach and look like an absolute loser. So
Yeah, real quick, are you gonna let anybody know what's going on with your jersey here?
I just picked one of my favorite Bo Jackson jerseys.
I remember
Sometimes when I want to.
that series of jerseys. Didn't we sell those?
I got this at Valley Village, and then I got it crested. It's one of my
Crested is
one of
when
my
you get a
passions.
player's name and numbers.
Yeah.
You're explaining people. I forgot about Manscaped. You know what? I'm sure you've got a few of those sitting in your bathroom there, Chris. So I might need to use mine soon because I'm a little bit hairy. So, Ted, any final words? You're good.
No, thanks for putting this together.
Hey, that's what I do. On behalf of 100% Matt Ferguson, 50% Ryan, and 50% Ted, this is the PP1 podcast. 200% awesome, 200% hockey and fun times. Have a great summer. I'll talk to you guys soon, hopefully with another fun guest. Peace out.